Okay, guys, here we go. Chapter 4. Let's do this. All right. So, the last we left off, what was going down? Okay, remember Pellegrina the grandma? She was just about to tell Abelina, who's the little girl, and Edward, who's the little rabbit, a bedtime story. And yeah, let's see what happens. Once there was a princess who was very beautiful. She shone as bright as the stars on a moonless night. But what difference did it make that she was beautiful? None. No difference. Why did it make no difference? Asked Abelina. Because, said Pellegrina, she was a princess who loved no one and cared nothing for love, even though there were many who loved her. At this point of the story, Pellegrina stopped and looked right at Edward. She stared deep into his painted-on eyes, and again Edward felt a shiver go through him. And so, said Pellegrina, still staring at Edward, what happened to the princess? Said Abelina. And so, said Pellegrina, turning back to Abeline, the king, her father, and that the princess must marry, told the king, her father, said that the princess must marry, and soon after this a prince came from a neighboring kingdom, and he saw the princess, and immediately he loved her. Oh, love at first sight. Love struck. Ooh! He gave her a ring of pure gold. He placed it on her finger. He said these two words to her, I love you. But do you know what the princess said? And here's a picture of what's going on. This is the grandmother, Pellegrina. And there's Abelina and Edward here in the story. So this prince comes up this is a story, but a prince comes up to this princess. He's in love with her, like right off the bat. And he says, like, I love you. He's just love struck. You know, been there. and then Abeline shook her head. She swallowed the ring. She took it from her finger and swallowed it. She said, that is what I think of love. So she gets proposed to. She eats the ring. This guy gives it to her. Will you marry me? She's like, eats the ring. She swallowed the ring. She took it from her finger and swallowed it. She said, that is what I think of love. And she ran from the prince. She left the castle and went deep into the woods. And so what? Said Abelina. What happened then? And so the princess became lost in the woods. She wandered for many days. Finally, she came to a little hut, and she knocked on the door. She said, let me in. I'm cold. There was no answer. She knocked again and said, let me in. I'm hungry. A terrible voice answered her. The voice said, enter if you want. The beautiful princess entered and saw a witch sitting at the table counting pieces of gold. 3,622, said the witch. I am lost, said the beautiful princess. What of it? Said the witch. 3,623. I'm hungry, said the princess. Not my concern, said the witch. 3,624? But I'm a beautiful princess, said the princess. 3,625, replied the witch. My father, said the princess, is a powerful king. You must help me, or there will be consequences. Let's think about this for a second, y'all. This girl doesn't want to fall in love, gets proposed to, eats the guy's ring, runs off, finally finds someone, and she's telling that person what to do? Huh? Like, yeah. So she's kind of like, what would be a good word to describe her? Like, I don't know, bratty. I'm getting like a bratty vibe. Super bratty. Entitled, maybe? You must help me, or there will be consequences. consequences, said the witch. She looked up from her gold. She stared at the princess. You dare talk to me of consequences? Very well, then we will speak of consequences. Tell me the name of the one you love. Love? Said the princess. She stamped her foot. Why must everyone always speak of love? Whom do you love? Said the witch. You must tell me the name. I love no one, said the princess proudly. You disappoint me, said the witch. She raised her hand and said one word. Farth Figgery. You disappoint me, said the witch. Oh, sorry. And the beautiful princess was changed into a warthog. A warthog is a wild pig. Kind of like, well, like Pumbaa in The Lion King, but they're way, like, nastier and they're pretty vicious and they're just very ugly and they're just like, ugh. But I heard they're delicious, though. What have you done to me? Squealed the princess. Talk to me of consequences now, will you? Said the witch, and she went back to counting her pieces of gold. 3,626, said the witch, as the warthog princess ran from the hut and out again into the forest. The king's men were in the forest too, and what were they looking for? A beautiful princess. And so, when they came upon an ugly warthog, they shot. They shot it immediately. No, said Abelina. Yes, said Pellegrina. The men took the warthog back to the castle, and oh, yo, guys, okay, it's about to get crazy up in here. Check this out. This is nuts. I remember this. Check this out. The men took the warthog back to the castle, and the cook slit open its belly, and inside of it, she found a ring of pure gold. There were many hungry people in the castle that night, and all of them were waiting to be fed. So the cook put the ring on her finger, and finished butchering the warthog. And the ring that the beautiful princess had swallowed shone on the cook's hand as she did her work. The end. So as she served her, she turned her into a warthog. The people that were trying to find her ended up killing her, gutted her, got the little ring out, does this. I don't think that this cook realizes that. She's just like, oh, that's weird. This warthog must have ate some jewelry. Well, I'm going to keep it. The end, said Abelina indignantly. Yes, said Pellegrina, the end. But it can't be. Why can't it be? Because it came too quickly, because no one is living happily ever after, that's why. And so, Pellegrina nodded. She was quiet for the moment. But answer me this. How can a story and a happy But answer me this. How can a story end happily if there is no love? But, well, it is too late. You must go to sleep. Pellegrina took Edward from Abelina. She put him in his bed and pulled the sheet up to his whiskers. She leaned close to him. She whispered, You disappoint me. See, y'all gotta understand, this grandma knows something. This grandma knows something's up. Like, she's talking to this rabbit. She knows this rabbit is, like, thinking. So, just to give y'all a heads up, spoiler alert. After the old lady left, Edward lay in a small bed and stared up at the ceiling. The story, he thought, had been pointless. But then, most stories were. He thought of the princess and how she had become a warthog. How gruesome, how grotesque, what a terrible fate. Edward, said Abelina, I love you. I don't care how old I get. I will always love you. Yes, thought Edward. He continued staring up at the ceiling. He was agitated for some reason that he could not name. He wished that Pellegrina had put him on his side so that he might look at the stars. And then he remembered Pellegrina's description of the beautiful princess. She shone as bright as the stars on a moonless night. For some reason, Edward found comfort in these words, and as he repeated them to himself, as bright as the stars on a moonless night, as bright as the stars on a moonless night, over and over until, at last, the first light of dawn appeared. Whoa. Okay, good stuff, guys. Have a good one. Stay safe.